And speaking of the Brinks truck, Bobby, let's talk about Josh Allen, his brand new contract, and the implications that it may have on Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson. So, late last night, it is announced, it is reported by Adam Schefter that the Bills and Josh Allen reached an agreement on a new, here we go, record-setting 6-year, $330 million contract. And get this, Bobby, it includes $250 million guaranteed. It is the largest guarantee ever given to a player in NFL history. And here's is that wasn't big enough news already? Bobby, the deal was made when Allen still had 4 years left on his contract. What was your reaction?
That this might be looking pretty in a couple of years for them, and I credit them I commend them from a monetary front office forward thinking perspective on this. This is going to look good for them. He's not going anywhere. He's coming off the year of his life, and I think this is going to age really well for them. And guess who's coming next? Those are the two things I think about. One, it's smart business, and two, Lamar, your benchmark was just set.
That's right. That's right. Because look, here's where Josh's Allen contract is now and Lamar Jackson's contract is now. And remember, they were both 2018 first-round draft picks. So they should be close. They're both now MVPs. They've both been to the AFC Championship game. Neither one has been to a Super Bowl. They've both done a lot of winning. Okay, so their contracts should be very similar. No reason not to. But Josh is now at $330 million. Lamar signed a couple years ago at $260 million. Bobby, that $250 million guaranteed that Josh is getting, which, by the way, is different from fully guaranteed, but we don't need to get into that. That $250 million guaranteed is almost as much as Lamar's full contract that he signed just a couple years ago. Lamar's full contract was $260. Josh Allen's is $250. Guaranteed. So, to your point, here's the other thing. Josh Allen had 4 years left on his contract. Lamar has 3 years left on his contract. I was saying that it might be a year early. They went like 2 years early.
Yeah.
And so the reason why a team and a quarterback would want to do that, especially quarterbacks that are winning, okay, from a team point of view, what you just said, it's going to look good down the road. You don't want to be the Bengals where you just keep waiting too long to extend your guys. Okay. You want to get it extended because by the time you get to that, 6th year, it's looking like a pretty good and manageable year because the cap keeps going up. So that's why you want to do it from a team perspective. Plus, you're betting on these guys, and there's nobody better to bet on. There's 4 quarterbacks that are Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow are quarterbacks you can bet on. So give them all those years. Keep extending him. From a quarterback's point of view, why do you want to do it? Well, you're getting new money right now. Lamar Jackson already got all of his guaranteed money. And just 2 years later, he can get more guaranteed money. And it's going in his bank account immediately. And on top of it, I'm not just saying this for Lamar, but any quarterback would like that security in case an injury comes around. Right? And it's not just Lamar and that he runs more and this and that. No, it's not that. Is anybody would like that security. And by the way, you can keep doing these extensions and keep getting new money as it goes along. So to your point, these are the new benchmarks. Dak Prescott has the highest average salary at $60 million per year. So if Eric DeCosta flies down to Florida, that's the benchmark. Lamar, we want to make you the highest paid, average salary wise. And the other benchmark is the $250 million guaranteed. Brian McFarland pointed that out here, right? Remember when Lamar was first going through his contract negotiations, he put on his Twitter that photo of the grill that says, "I need money" on the teeth. That's exactly what it's looking like. And so again, it's one of the most underreported things going on right now. And maybe it'll be a surprise to everybody else, just like this Josh Allen one has been a surprise, which is news. I'm sure the Bills love that they did that without any media scrutiny. Nobody's covering this. And I'm sure EDC and Lamar would equally like to make sure that this doesn't get out and nobody has to scrutinize it. Nobody has to push them against each other. Nobody has to say, well, Lamar deserves this or the Ravens deserve that or, any of that. You can avoid all of it because nobody's talking about it. But EDC did say that he was going to talk to Lamar about his contract and that he was going to fly down there. When that happens, I have no idea if it's already happened or if it's going to happen, but they now have new benchmarks, as you said, Bobby.
This is precisely why our offseason priority items were the way that we listed them out as when I went on the road to Indy, when I went on the road to New Orleans. Right? Like, this is literally, and can we go back to this slide right here? Because, I mean, just put it into consideration here that Lamar's just a couple years into that extension. Couple years in, right? It was 2023.
Yep.
And he has fallen to 9th in terms of highest average salary. So that's what I was referencing when I say it's good business by Buffalo.
Yeah.
And it'll be even better business by Baltimore if they can get that done in the future.
Absolutely. So this morning on First Take, Stephen A. Smith, Dan Orlovsky, and Shannon Sharp were talking about this contract and what it means for Josh Allen. Now, we have taken notice inside the vault, and Voltrons have taken notice, and Ravens Twitter at large has taken notice that it always seems like Lamar Jackson is held to a higher standard than some of the other quarterbacks. And those guys always say, yeah, we do hold him at a higher standard because he's been an MVP. But now that Josh Allen has an MVP under his belt, and now that he's the highest paid quarterback ever in terms of guaranteed money, they are now saying they are now changing who they feel like has the most pressure to win now.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Dio. I think he still had like 4 years left on his deal.
Yeah.
And for them to tear that deal up, I mean, but he's played it. And I love this. When guys outplayed the contract that they're currently under, reward him. Because if he underperforms, you shall release him or you restructure the contract. So I like an organization that does it both ways. You outperform, I'll pay you. If you underperform, I'm going to need to claw back some of that money. But what it does do, it puts him under immense amount of pressure to win. I believe D.O. Stephen A., he's under the same amount of pressure that Lamar Jackson is because the MVP adds another level of pressure. Not only is he the highest paid, he got the most guaranteed money in NFL history. He has MVP, as you heard Molly read. MVP Josh Allen. When you get those 3 letters added to your name, it creates immense pressure if you don't already have a Super Bowl. So we just ratcheted up the expectations, the intensity, and what we expect from Josh Allen. He needs to win, and he needs to win sooner rather than later.
I do agree with you, Shannon. He is now, I put him up there as being even under more pressure than Lamar Jackson. Okay, right now. He's elevated in that regard, but he is a league MVP. He was just in the AFC Championship game, and he's an absolute stud. And to lose Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis last year and to still have the kind of year that he had has cemented his status as an absolute elite quarterback in this National Football League. He deserves this bag.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to hold him to that, Bobby, right? Because for years, they have given excuses to other quarterbacks, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. Don't give them to Lamar. And they've always said, well, it's because he's a 2-time MVP. Okay, well, now they're saying we're going to hold Josh Allen to a higher standard because he has his MVP, as contested as it was. Yeah, that's the way it's going to go down in history. And he's now the highest paid in terms of guaranteed money. But he hasn't made it any further than Lamar Jackson when it comes to the postseason. And so we're going to hold him to it. We're going to hold him to it. You now say he has as much pressure, if not more than Lamar. We hope that the commentary follows throughout the season.
For sure. We'll see.
Should we get to a couple of super chats while we're on this topic?
Let's do that. And we also have to shout out our new members as well. We're over 40 channel members. We just rolled this out, this new feature, this new option to support the channel, to get more involved, to cash in on some perks that we have available to you. So if you go to the show notes, if you go to click on the link that we have included as a pinned comment in the live chat, you can learn more. But Nocturnal and Ty 2 Wavy, our 2 newest channel members. So shout out you both. We appreciate you guys for being on board. Deshaun Davis, Sarah.
Says, I heard a good point. Lamar and Roquan don't have agents. Maybe that's why we haven't heard about their extensions. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Which is also why the first time there was contract talk, anytime reports came out, I was very incredulous on most of them. And they were all over the place. And it's because neither the Ravens nor Lamar talk about contract situations, and there's no agent to spill the beans. And so it's on Baltimore media's mind. I know because Jeff was on our show at the Combine, and he talked about it. And Morgan Madsen had asked about it when the season ended. They talked about it, but they got no information. There's zero reports on it because neither Lamar nor Eric DeCosta will talk about it.
Kobe Pruitt. Are the Bengals treating Joe Burrow like he's a slightly more talented Brock Purdy? They're acting like he needs superstar talent around him to be successful. Cincinnati is going to need to score 100 points. Robbie Pate.
EDC needs to do the same for Lamar. He deserves it. That's right.
Another one from Kobe. EDC needs to correct his past mistake in waiting too long to sign Lamar after Josh signed his first deal and offer Lamar a big number that can be spread over 6 to 7 years. And here's one more from Kobe.
I don't think that EDC waited. They literally were negotiating for 2 years. At the time, I'm telling you, at the time, what screwed it up was Deshaun Watson. It was the fully guaranteed number. That's what screwed it up.
A lot of things.
But that's in the past now. Okay. Kobe Pruitt also adds, Steelers close to a deal with Aaron Rodgers per Jerry Dolak of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette.
Wow.
Bro, in the AFC North, we could have Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers, and then who knows, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, who knows? But it's not going to be Deshaun Watson that they can rely on.
No,
it's a murderer's row in the AFC. That is for sure.
Yeah, for Cleveland, it'll probably be a Bridge and one of those guys that you just mentioned, unless they're not fully in on Ward or Shedeur, and they want to go the Bridge route, and then. I don't know. I floated that out. I floated that scenario out last week in terms of use Deshaun as a bridge for next year. My gut tells me he's played his last snap as a Brown, but you just never know, especially at the numbers that they're on the books for and totally on the hook for with him.
One last comment on the Lamar Jackson contract extension that may or may not be going down, but I think if the Ravens are smart, they are pursuing this hard. I would hope that EDC has already been down there because it would just be smart business for now and the future. It would be smart business. And you go down there and you tell him that you're going to make him the highest paid. But I had a few people push back on Twitter about this. And they're like, this is the dumbest idea ever. Why would you extend a quarterback that can't win in the postseason? Yada, yada, yada. What's hilarious to me, Bobby, is here we are, how somebody could say that when we're sitting here on the first day of legal tampering, and the Seattle Seahawks and the Steelers and the Jets and the Giants are fighting over the likes of a 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers, of a Justin Fields who hasn't been able to get his career going, over Sam Darnold who was left for dead and then had one resurgent year, or Russell Wilson who's also aging. These are the guys that are out there. And they're all scrambling and fighting and getting into bidding wars over those 4 quarterbacks. And then you have the audacity to say it's not smart to lock up 2-time MVP Lamar Jackson, who keeps ascending in the postseason. You want to be back in this world? You want to say goodbye to Lamar and go to this world that the Steelers have been in since Ben Roethlisberger left? And they keep trying a stopgap after stopgap, and then trying to take a stab at a quarterback late in the first round or second round. No, we're not going back there. Plus, anybody that writes off Lamar this early, it's just, he hasn't done it yet, but it's crazy to me that you would write it off and not want to lock him in when you're watching these teams beg. And hey, Fields, don't go hit free agency. Come back to us. We know we benched you, but you're looking around. There's nobody to dance with. Fields, come back to us. You're the youngest person on the dance floor. We'll take you. That's what you want to go back to? No, I'm taking the 2-time MVP, who's an absolute generational talent.
There's definitely the more optimal scenario. There's no arguing where you'd rather be. And the Ravens are obviously They got their priorities. They got their needs. They just addressed a massive one, as we covered in the beginning of the show over the weekend. But yeah, in terms of quarterback stability, I think it's all pretty clear where you'd rather be within this division right now. And that brings us, man, everything is
I don't know what's
misfiring right now. I
Yeah,
got
that
to
was
tell you,
misfiring.
everything is misfiring. Twitter is up, but yet it's not being pushed out. You could just tell. But anyway, we're moving forward. Jamison Hensley notes, with the NFL's negotiation period, which is already almost an hour in, which began at noon Eastern time, he listed the Ravens' top 10 free agents. Patrick McCary, Patrick Ricard, Brandon Stevens, Malik Harrison, Nelson Aguilar, Tre'Davious White, Tylan Wallace, Chris Board, Josh Johnson, and look who rounds out the list, Deontay Johnson.
Johnson.
So,
Okay, Bobby, let's go through this. Who's leaving? Okay, stay or go, Patrick McCary. Now, I'm not saying what you want, what you think is going to happen. Stay or go, Patrick McCary.
I think he's gone.
I think he's gone. I think he's going to make a lot of money. Patrick Ricard.
Ricard, I think they'll keep him.
Agreed. Stevens.
Gone.
Agreed. Malik Harrison.
Could go both ways here. Honestly, I don't know if I feel stronger about one way or the other. Do you have a gut feel that pushes you in a certain direction? To me, it's 50-50.
I don't know what his market's going to be, but I think they'd like to have him back on a modest deal.
Yeah. I don't have a great feel for it, though. I just, like, Malik has been a good special teamer for you. He has obviously played inside linebacker. He's played some outside linebacker for you. He's a homegrown Raven. They've developed him. He's sort of like your do-it-all guy. But like you said, what's the market going to dictate? I don't know.
And you may want to wait till after the draft. See what you can get there with 11 picks.
Well, you know what's funny, too, about this list is that I don't know how many of these dominoes fall today.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, there might
McCary,
only be a
I can
handful.
see going. Yeah, McCary, I could see going sooner than later.
Yeah.
But most of these guys are like, maybe Brandon Stevens could go, but like most of these guys, I'd say the top 3 could go before the draft. The rest could all be decided after the draft.
And think about that. Like,
yeah,
last year, obviously, with the insane run on free agent running backs and them deciding to invest in Derek, I mean, that was blockbuster. They just don't have that this year. They got Ronnie Stanley taken care of. And this is a list that's just, when you look at what's going on elsewhere, it's just a little underwhelming, which, hey, it's
that's
not
a good
like
place to be.
I was going to say, exactly. You don't consistently win by spending in free agency.
Okay, Nelson. Oh, sorry. Do you have anything else you want to say on that?
Nope. On to Nelly.
Nelson, stay or go?
Go.
Tre'Davious White.
This is where it goes back to last week when we were both surprised by Jeff's list that he had him on his stay.
Yeah. I say revisit after the draft.
Yes.
Okay, Tylan Wallace.
I'm gonna go with stay.
Agreed.
On a modest deal that continues to call on him for special teams.
Yep.
And in certain spots where we know he's a proven playmaker.
Yep. Chris Board.
Stay.
Josh Johnson.
Go.
Quarterback. Yep. And then Deontay is a good, obviously. That's just like, can we use him for comp pick stuff?